All right, we're on stage. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We will chat through all things AI in just a little bit, but we'll give everyone a few minutes to join in, and we'll get started in just about 2 minutes or so. We should have some cool music in the beginning of this.
I could just start playing it in the background.
Yeah, I mean, feel free.
You should get some AI generated music.
We should. I'm not sure if everyone saw my LinkedIn post, but I did use AI to generate the LinkedIn post for this. I felt like it was only fitting.
Did you guys hear that?
No sound.
Even now?
Oh yeah, we can hear that now.
Okay, there you go.
Getting the energy up.
Move it to something not so party. Something a little bit more chill.
Oh, good. Yeah, we'll give everyone just about a minute or so before we jump in with intros. Oh, there's a lot of people that are registered and that are joining. Welcome, welcome. If anyone's here, feel free to drop in the chat where you are coming from, what companies, what cities, etc. We love to hear. Oh, hey, Zoe. Hi, I know her. One of the clients I work with. Bay Area. We got some Milk Makeup, our Milk Makeup family here. Alani New. Amazing. Oh, thank you all for joining. Shantikai, hi Katie. Oh, this is going to be a family session. These are like all people that we know. Good stuff. Cape Town, we're going international. I love to see it. Phoenix, LA. Oh, we got some agency folks, got Blue Nutrition. Oh, everyone is here. Everyone is here. And then Jen Benson, our team. Welcome, everyone. Okay. We're just about 2 minutes in, so I think we can go ahead and start to kick things off. Hi, I'm Jameer. I will be your moderator for today. We're going to talk through AI in the creator marketing industry. We'll talk through some strategies, some opportunities, and what we see coming up next. So I, as a strategic insights manager, have worked with many of our clients over time, and I have a lot of great insights from them around how they're using AI today. But I do want to give each of our panelists an opportunity to introduce themselves. So I'll start with Damien, and then we'll kind of take it across from there.
Thanks, Jameer. Hi, everyone. So nice to be here with you all. I'm Damien Cortese. I'm the Executive Vice President of Strategy and Growth at RQ. We are a social-first creative agency based in Hollywood with also offices in New York, and excited to talk about AI.
Hey, I'm Danny. I'm the brand manager at True Citrus. We make drink mixes and water enhancers from simple ingredients and no artificial sweeteners. I lead our brand strategy, creative partnerships, creative strategy, and make sure that all of our content feels human, drives connection, and keeps people coming back for more.
Great. Hi, friends. My name is Nate. I'm the VP of Product Innovation at Creator IQ. Our team leads a lot of product R&D efforts, most of our data science and AI development efforts at the company. So very excited to chat with all of you and with this awesome panel.
Amazing. Nate is so great. I actually thought we use a tool called N8N. I thought it was named after you, Nate, because you're so good. But
I wish.
And jump into things today. We're going to kick things off with a poll. So we found that 94% of brands are using AI for marketing in some capacity. And just a little tidbit here, some of the stats that we'll look at from today are a part of our upcoming 2026 State of Creator Marketing report. So feel free to participate in this poll here. What we're looking at is how are you using AI today, right? If we know that brands are using it, feel free to tap into our poll. We'll give everyone a minute or two so that we can understand how you're using AI. This will be a good time for the Jeopardy music. I think we have about 20, 30 seconds.
Soundboard.
Okay, I'm looking at the results here. I see the top answer is content ideation and copywriting, which is pretty in alignment with what we've been discussing all throughout. So I think that this is going to be a very pertinent conversation for everyone on the line today. And as we're here, let's start with a couple of pieces from Damien, Danny, and Nate. What are some key use cases where AI has already maybe helped to drive some measurable results for you, or where can brands begin to kind of integrate AI into their strategy?
Totally, I'm happy to jump in. I think for us, we're always thinking of ways, since we're in the services business, right? We're a creative agency. We're thinking of ways to move faster and also more cost efficient for our clients, things that they love to hear. So I think on that front, from a productivity perspective, for Nate and I were just chatting earlier, Creator IQ is a great tool for brand safety. So using AI in that way, ChatGPT for just digesting briefs and the usual, as we said, copy, creative. I don't think it's quite there yet, but helping us also in some social content creation where we then augment. I think right now we're still at the phase where it's human plus AI to really get those gains. And for us, we've created this really cool tool called the reaction engine, because we saw one of the things with our clients is how do they jump in on cultural moments, and create relevant conversations, drive conversation with both influencers and trends. And so we've been able to build on Perplexity and OpenAI and create this reaction engine tool that is tapping into, using Creator IQ as well, trends and influencer conversations, that is just able to move much quicker than if I had my whole team looking at this, right? So to find those opportunities, and then it also is scoring them based on brand filters that we have. So we have for safety, for brand relevance, and then a cool part that I'm hoping will continue to iterate and get better is the chance of virality. So it's taking a virality score, basically how this might blow up. And with that, we've been able to really jump very quickly, right? That's the game we're in here in social, quickly but authentically into these conversations. Like we had this great example with Sephora recently, where there was a macro creator, talking about how Sephora should also be for the boys and his skincare routine, right? And we were able to pick this up much quicker than even if we were doing the best of our social listening through this tool. We saw that it was going to go viral. We sent him a gift within 24 hours that was this fairly elaborate Sephora package and an unboxing that we created. And it's really created this whole campaign now, that Sephora for the boys. We created merch, etc. And look, could we have done that without AI? Sure. We could not have done it as quick and as efficient and as cost effective as we did with that. So that's where these tools, I think, and just watching as they iterate through, we've been working on this tool for a year. It's unbelievable the rapid, increase in productivity and how they're just getting better.
Amazing. Danny, Nate, anything from you?
So we also very much, to piggyback off of Damien, very much it helps us streamline everything so quickly, especially as such a small team. We always need to be working more quickly and faster, especially since we don't have giant budgets. And so the other thing that actually, on top of that helps us do everything better, is that it's really good also at evaluating qualitative data. So taking all of those large surveys, customer reviews, etc., and then not just extracting learnings from that, but also being able to feed that into a large prompt or project in ChatGPT to then write copy that is inspired by actual customer reviews, survey data, etc., that we honestly just wouldn't have been able to do prior. And then also another big thing that I've also done lately is building out a AI chatbot, or just like a GPT for our brand that actually prices and negotiates with creators and helps us draft those emails, so that way we can kind of get through the conversation process a little quicker.
Amazing. Yeah, what I'm hearing so far is like speed, efficiency, and scale. right? Those are the three things. It's not really a replacement, right? It's just helping you to get to those results a bit faster. Nate, how about you?
Yeah, so I would say my answer would be a little bit different, since really I have the pleasure of working with super smart technologists every day, and these are people who have been building AI stuff, right, as classical data science as well for half a decade, up until this like generative AI boom, right? And so these are folks who are building both like classical models and embedding this. I mean, we have folks on our team who have put this stuff into their smart home, right? Who are like embracing the like we're going to become singularity cyborgs, and it touches like every part of their lives and their work. And similarly for me, right? Like, yes, I use this all day, every day, these kinds of technologies within my work, but I also use it like I have a calorie tracking app, right? And this I've been religiously putting in food inputs for about 4 years now, every single day, right? And like the level of cool insights around like my gut biome and like my macros and stuff that I'm able to get by synthesizing this stuff through AI is super cool. So both work, and it's starting to affect like everyday life. And I think of it as a very fun, futuristic, singularity-esque, but cool evolution of work itself. So very deeply embedded.
I love that. I was actually talking to one of our colleagues yesterday about how integrating more, AI. We also use a tool called Notion, and I've used Notion in my personal life. But with that, it's really helped me to understand the best ways to leverage Notion and Notion's AI tools in the work that we do, right? By bringing it into something like I actually had Notion AI create a vitamin tracker for me so that I can take my vitamins every day and tell me what times I should take them. So I think the more and more we start to integrate into our day-to-day lives, it really illuminates the type of work that we could be doing in our careers. Nate, I'm going to turn it back to you for a second. I know that everyone else will have some thoughts here as well, but I'd love to know what aspects of creator marketing do you think should always kind of maintain a bit of a human-led element?
Yeah, thanks for this question, Jameer. I think it's a super important thing that I'm very, very passionate about. I think like a lot of people at Creator IQ, we actually really love this space, right? Most of us are longtime employees within the social media industry at large, right? And beyond all the business opportunity within the creator economy, there's also like this very cool human aspect to this space that you don't really get in other digital marketing channels, right? It's democratized advertising and content creation to people who have built these audiences on their own, right? And so part of the reason why this space works is because of that human nature to the space, right? It also is why it's like a complicated space that's kind of messy, right? And I think in that messiness is, audiences can feel that messiness, that rawness, and it's what makes stuff resonant sometimes. So I think like a lot of like the let's call it like the back office work that is a little bit inglorious, right? So the clerical stuff, right? Like initial discovery maybe, or vetting, or list building, some of this early recruitment steps that are just like everybody follows the same first few steps to get into a network. That kind of stuff will become abstracted and automated with AI, and Creator IQ is investing and building a lot around those kinds of capabilities. But I do think it's important to think about what audiences that are seeing the content actually want at the end and why it's resonant, right? As technologists, we have this tendency to want to just like automate everything always, but like you've seen this in other programmatic channels that have kind of like lost their heart because they've been too automated, right? And that those human points of messiness don't shine through, and the channel itself becomes diluted and less effective. I don't think it's possible for that to happen in good creator marketing as long as we remember the human. And brands that do remember the human will always stick out from those that have just got this running fully automated.
Love that.
Yeah, I like you, Nate. I'm an AI optimist, but also a humanist. I think at RQ stands for relationship quotient. So we've been doing this for a long time. We've expanded our capabilities in social first, but we started really before the creator marketplace was called the creator marketplace. So like a lot of you all, we've been at this for a while, and I think we understand that the resonance and connection that creators have with their community is because they are unique and because they are authentic. So for us, for instance, we've put a line in the sand where we're not going to utilize or create like an AI generated creator. That's not for us, but exactly as you said, for the safety, for moving quicker, for productivity, we look at this as a mix of all the human ingenuity and creativity that we have, the stuff that the LLMs have not been able to put into their models and learn yet from that exist already, right? The unique human part of us, and then supplement that with them. I think it's creator specifically. I'm gonna misquote him, but I think it's Chris Best, the founder of Substack. I heard him speaking some weeks ago, and it was a similar AI panel, and he was asked about the future. If AI takes over, what jobs would be left? And he was like, one of the 6 jobs will definitely be a creator, Substacker or a creator. And I think there's something really true to that, because again, people connect with creators. It works right now. If they're rejecting advertising, it's because folks are authentic and have an authentic, real connection.
What do you do?
And then also to kind of agree with both Nate and Damien entirely, to not repeat anything, I'd also just love to add that at the end of the day, it is kind of just a tool. And of course, like AI, for the most part, can automate almost every process, especially throughout the entire life cycle of working with a creator. But that doesn't mean that it should, and that you should definitely have somebody at every single point, because when you have things like just completely automated with, like, if let's say you were to make an like AI powered influencer marketing program, you can't leverage things like prompt stacking that actually drive the bulk of all of or give us the best outputs from any AI that we ever use. So basically, for those who don't know, it's when you basically give it a prompt, tell it to write Facebook ad copy or something like that, and then it spits out the output, and then you say, no, crank up the personality even more, no, even more, go crazy, go off the walls, keep adding on to it, and then it'll keep editing its own outputs and making them even better and better and better. And when you have a tool that doesn't have any human intervention, you can't do things like that.
Love that. Just before we move on to the next slide, I think the theme that I'm hearing from everyone is authenticity, right? I follow this probably funny account called images that AI could never recreate, right? And it's usually like human accident prone things that we just do as human beings, right? Like typos, things that, will always be very authentic and human centric. And so I think that that's a piece that, AI will never be able to replace. One of the findings that we have from our upcoming 2026 State of Creator Marketing report is that the #1 use of AI in marketing is generating short form content. So that is both written content and then also some creative content. But how can we overcome some of those common roadblocks so that we can really leverage the full potential of AI?
So to piggyback off of what I also just said, getting much better at prompting, storytelling, and even developing, if you don't already have much, or those that you hire, much better critical thinking skills to know when to take a suggestion from AI and when not to. Because at the end of the day, everything from AI pretty much is just a suggestion, especially since on research tasks or data analysis tasks, AI loves to hallucinate. That's why we also largely use it for creative content, because a little extra imagination is always welcome there. But yeah, the output is almost only as good as what you put into it. So providing as much context as you possibly can.
I think I was totally right on the prompts, Danny. I mean, the better you are, the better the tool's going to be with its output. I'm a little surprised at this one because in my experience, to be honest, I think we're not quite there yet with the tools, at least whether it's, Mid-Journey. I know Google's VO, I believe, was impressive for people. But I still think when we've played around with art directors and people who have, real creative training and been doing this for a while, I still think I at least for one feel like we can tell that it's still AI generated, and so we haven't been we've been supplementing in some, or I'll use images in decks and stuff. But for the content we're creating on social right now, I think it's helping in the process or storyboarding or other ways efficient. But we are still using our human creatives, whether it's video, or images we're generating.
Yeah, I would add, I think like Damien, totally same POV, which to me it's kind of like text, like two things seem to have been, I won't say solved, right? But the textual components, right? So like being able to synthesize like captions or even like the meta layer before content, right? So synthesizing like maybe a really good first draft of a script, right? Or really good scene descriptions, these kinds of things. But I would say like the multimodal execution still is, not at the point where you can definitely still tell when something is AI generated. I do have this feeling with creator content in particular. Again, thinking about like what do audiences actually want, right? And this is more I guess for O&O socials, but also creators that are leveraging these kinds of tools and making short form content. It seems to be the case from our research that when a creator makes something that they could not have made without using some kind of generative AI, and uses it to enhance a scene or show a shot or do an edit that otherwise would have been impossible without these tools, audiences find that like really cool and they applaud. But when a creator takes an existing human process or an editing process or a thumbnail thing, I mean, we saw the whole thumbnail controversy with the tool that Mr. Beast released earlier this year, right? Like, then audiences kind of freak out because they're like, oh, it's not authentic for you to just be replacing this big part of your creative pipeline wholesale with these tools, right? So I think like understanding what audiences want in the short form content is a really, really important part of this, and not just using these tools because they exist, but using them when the audience will applaud them is important.
Also to add is the tools that are out there that are really popular. Agree with you, Damien, are not really there yet. But there has to at least be some tool that is, or actually is pretty much there. Just because there is some AI content that I actually do consume regularly because it is so funny. If you've ever looked up Granny Spills or Joey on the Streets on Instagram, highly recommend. They're hilariously funny. So I don't know what special tool they're using, but that's great. Or if it just requires a hell of a lot more skill. Also, these are videos that are only people and like kind of skits. They don't actually have physical products in their hands yet. And we just tested Icon a little bit ago, did like a 3-day trial to see if we'd be able to quickly generate anything without having like a ton of knowledge on being perfect on prompting and whatnot, and could just quickly get a good output. And it made up the box. Our box is like this tiny. It made like the box like this big, and also got the packaging completely wrong, even though I'd fed it like assets. So
one of my colleagues actually compares using AI tools to an eager intern, right? Like someone who to be very helpful, but we still might want to double check some of the output in the end. I think it certainly has gotten better, over time, but there's still, again, going to be that human element where we need to double check kind of those final results. I think that this actually brings us back to, Damien, you talked about brand safety in the beginning. And so just to circle back there, what are some brand safety considerations or some guardrails that maybe you've put into place or that you think that brands should be thinking about, agencies should be thinking about when using AI?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of these themes we keep saying because they're resonant and they're true is don't just rely on this and think that AI, you're not going to have an organic social strategy that consists of you utilizing AI and you can fire that team or not hire an agency. That's not a good strategy, right? You should be using this to supplement and always have senior people that understand your brand and stewards of your brand, the human element to guardrail. So, like I said, all the tools that we have, this is not AI to replace. This is AI to supplement, AI to enhance cost efficiency space. So I think we think about it in that manner, make sure, and in our own tool reaction engine, we actually the first thing we do is put in brand filters and brand safety. Like there's some folks where like licensing issues are their legal department is going to be very conservative with that. We make sure that we're cognizant of that, when we're using AI or other, especially for the brand safety when we're working with influencers. I do think AI can do a much quicker, better job than doing like deep dives on the internet of all the things that people have posted, so that you don't have like, oh my God, back in 2020 they said something that is really controversial and goes against our brand values. It's much quicker, and Creator IQ also has these kind of tools. It's like AI can help you get that. You still need humans to re-review this and work with you there.
Love it. Anyone else on brand safety just before we move forward?
Oh yeah, just carelessness and laziness. It's kind of like how your math teacher in high school never wanted you to use a calculator because they were afraid you'd never be able to actually do it in your own head. And look, nowadays we do have calculators everywhere, and I can always just pull one up on my phone. But that is aside from the point. The calculator is not always correct in this case, and always review the outputs incredibly closely, no matter what you're given. I've seen plenty of agency work or contractor work that is clearly AI generated that is handed back to us to review, and there's like very clear giveaways to like the overuse of EM dashes, too perfect formatting, oddly formal vocabulary that most people maybe don't even use, or that ChatGPT routinely uses. Just give similar giveaway phrases. Even one time I actually received a brief in the height of summer when everyone was kind of like going on vacations and whatnot, that literally in the middle of the brief there was that faint divider, and it started with the phrase, "Would you like me to generate this, that, like, etc." And I literally screenshotted it and sent it to our account team head, and I was like, okay, we need to talk.
No, totally understood. Just before we wrap, I can't believe we were already almost through our first 30 minutes. We always like to get everyone to kind of put their maybe genie hat on or get into that crystal ball. And we're going to talk about what we think is happening next. So we see the AI usage is on the rise. And I'd love to know from everyone, from your perspective, what's next? We can talk about what's upcoming when it comes to creators and creator marketing programs, working with AI. I'd also really love to know if there's a challenge that you think that creator marketing will help to resolve, right, with the use of AI. So anyone's thoughts there?
Yeah, I can start here, Jameer. So I guess first, just to put a cherry on top of your question about brand safety, what I'll say is, from the Creator IQ side, all I'm going to say is watch this space because we are going to be releasing some stuff in Q4 that is going to be like industry first, related to Damien kind of alluded to some of this as well, but things that can augment the brand safety process and take us from 2D to 3D in our ability to understand creator content from a brand safety POV, so that teams that use Creator IQ can do that last mile, right, of review work and vetting work. So watch this space. To answer the question on the screen, I really think the next phase for organizations of any size is going to be figuring out orchestration with these new generative AI tools, right? So a lot of us right now are still kind of at this point where our the extent of our use of AI is like interacting with the chat interface, right? Like maybe we're using some of like the GPTs, or we're playing with some of these new like baked in agent tools that are coming out in some of these platforms. But there are platforms and frameworks that are kind of exploding right now, which allow you to do orchestration where like agents will interact with other agents, right? So, for example, Jameer, you mentioned it at the beginning of this webinar, but like a couple good ones are like N8N or Make, or some of these other platforms that are low code, right? And allow you to, have abstracted LangChain, right? So you can say, I want this agent to do this task, but before it returns it, I want it to hit these 3 APIs. And then I want that unstructured data to go to this other agent that reviews what happened over here, and then like make sure that it fulfilled the task correctly. And if it didn't, kick it back recursively. And like building these kinds of things allows you to very quickly have these workflows handle more complex tasks, right? And automate things that are a little bit more abstract as you move forward. So I think like at Creator IQ, we've been embedding this stuff into different teams now for over a year, right? Like we've got specialists in the company across different departments who have really rooted in and are playing with it a lot. And even our classical data science teams who are building scalable foundation intelligence layers and AI that can be reproducible and measurable are enjoying experimenting with these kinds of things because it still unlocks new kinds of capabilities. So I think that's more like in marketing industry in general, I guess, less creator specific, but that's going to be 2026 for a lot of organizations.
I mean, I think what's fascinating, that all sounds fascinating, it's how quick this stuff, as the more I've been able to play in my role at RQ, which is so fun, getting to play and build these tools and get in there, you see how quickly this all develops. And so it's watching it get better at the data analysis, the trend watching, the brand safety and the quickness, identifying creators for us. That's one thing that's iterative. And then long term, I think I was telling you guys this the other day. One thing I've started to do with my ear pods in and ChatGPT is just talking to it with my thoughts, like using voice. And again, being an AI optimist, perhaps I'm wrong, and it's going to be Terminator Judgment Day for me. But for now, trusting it and talking to it about my thoughts, both personal, helped me plan a vacation with my 2 little kids and stuff, but also just work, right? A lot of what I have to do is think through problems, help clients solve briefs. So you can try this on your commute. It's still not quite there, the creative partner I want. Like I said, I think it's got room to grow there, but in the future, that's really exciting. That if you have a true like creative partner that can also help you with let's say you have 50 influencers, sure, it might help you get to them quicker. Is it going to help you with that GTM plan over the course of 3-month campaigns? Not yet. I'm excited for when it can help supplement and get better. And that'll probably happen sooner than we all think.
Everything is just going to continue to get quicker and quicker and quicker, and be infused in almost every single aspect. But hopefully still have those moments where there's human intervention in a lot of spaces, especially since things like Damien said, creative is not, like visual creative is not quite there. I'm really excited though. It's for the very clear opportunity for AI to just completely take over the kind of top of the funnel of influencer marketing and really help take care of all of like prospecting and like even starting initial outreach sequences. And then once the creator actually responds and says, yay, I'm interested, like it then gets handed off to me to handle and actually develop that one-to-one human connection with the creator.
I love that. Yeah, just to kind of tie us all up, I think some of the questions that we all think about, like how can we become irreplaceable, right, in this AI era? And for many of the brands that I work with directly, I think that there's 2 functions that will really kind of never go away. One is prompting, right? Like what are we asking for, and being able to ask the right questions, as Danny mentioned earlier, that like prompt stacking, that's something that's always going to require a human element. So brushing up on those skills, tying up those skills is really going to be helpful. The other is oversight, right? When we get that output, being able to carefully review what those outputs are and to ensure that they are brand safe, to ensure that they, speak in the same brand voice, et cetera. That's always going to be a key part of, a creator program that I don't believe AI will ever be able to replace. Cool. We've gone through 35 minutes of talk about AI, and I do want to open up the floor a little bit to some of our panelists, or excuse me, to some of our attendees. So let me take a look and see if there's any Q&A here. Not just yet, but we're actually open. So if there are any questions from anyone, feel free to drop some of them in the chat.
I just didn't want to defend M dashes. I've been using them long before ChatGPT, and they have a proper place in grammar, as do Oxford commas. For those of you young folks,
and
I
semicolons.
do love a good EM dash, but can't deny that most people don't use it or don't know how to use it, and then often will use just a regular dash, not an EM dash, when they mean to use an EM dash. Especially because the shortcut for an EM dash isn't really on most keyboards.
Totally. I do feel like sometimes it can be a little bit of a giveaway, like if you're seeing it throughout, an entire written essay. But it is something, it's a part of grammar, right? Like it's a part of our language that people do naturally use. So totally okay to be using. I have one question here. So since short form content is the #1 areas that brands are using AI for, how do you see AI evolving storytelling in this format? That's a really great question from Amara Lopez.
I honestly allow everyone to be a lot more creative, especially like I said earlier with prompt stacking. It's really, really helpful for us to make really funny pieces of content. Actually, even more recently, I created a brief that kind of starts to push the boundaries a little bit more of what we generally do as a brand. And since it's just for TikTok, I was like, this is experimental. It's great. Got approved by my boss. We're super excited to launch it. But honestly, no one on our team is that funny, and all the comedians that we approached to write something for us all are way too expensive and really outside of our pay range.
I think one other piece in storytelling that AI has been really great for is helping to maybe visualize the final story. I know that often, brands, when they're putting out a content brief, they kind of have in their minds what they want the content to look like, and maybe that end result from AI is not something that you publish, but a few brands have certainly used AI generated content to give creators an idea of the type of content that they're looking for. So I do think that that's one way that the storytelling, will evolve internally, and then ultimately allow creators to just create better content that's better in alignment with, what a brand might be looking for.
Yeah, and also to add on to that too, you don't know what you don't know. And so AI knows a lot more about storytelling that you might know, and you might know more than it knows in some areas.
Yeah. One other question I'm seeing here, what do you guys think about just data privacy, right? Like giving kind of different details to some of the AI chat tools that we use?
Ooh, can I answer this one, Jameer? So I'm going to answer this kind of from the technologist POV, right? Because there is this entire field, right, within data science, which of course AI is just one part of larger data science and machine learning, or rather the other way around, right? So within, there's this field called MLOps, right? And MLOps has all of these baked standards for things related to model measurement, right? So are your models grounded? Meaning, do you have a way to actually measure statistically the output? Do you have a human labeled data set where you're able to say, hey, our model is accurate against this human labeled data set up to 95% on a regular basis, right? There are these heuristics that we use, like precision and recall for supervisable models. all of these things that have been used in classical data science for decades at this point, that are directly applicable to LLMs and generative AI. But the industry right now, because there are so many like ChatGPT wrapper type platforms and startups, just have not cared at all about this governance layer of ML. So I think I would encourage buyers of platforms and software as they think about security, governance, like what vendors to choose, similar to how you might care about like SOC 2 or ISO 2700 from a security POV. You should also care about like, do they have actual model governance policies? Do they have measurable outcomes if they're integrating both classical data science and LLMs and generative AI? And have that be a standard when you're making your purchasing decisions. And the last thing I'll say is if you're building stuff in-house, you should first consider using open weight models, right? So models like Llama or Gemma from Google or ChatGPT just released a new one like last week, right? These are the model equivalent of open source. They are disconnected from the larger model providers. And so there's not like this direct ability to like look at the input data. And so there's like an inherent level of security that comes with these open weight models. So there are providers like Grok, G-R-O-Q, not K, that came before Elon's Grok, that hosts these open weight models, and you can interact with them the exact same way that you could ChatGPT or Anthropic or Gemini or others.
Yeah, for us, it's definitely something we think about. I think in my personal life, I've probably shared everything with ChatGPT, so I throw out my privacy concerns for myself. But in terms of a work setting with the reaction engine, I think I'm getting this right, Nate. It's called a closed loop, where the LLM can learn from the specific brand we have so that it gets better at doing what we're doing for that brand, but we're not sharing information outside of that, right? And we made sure with our engineers that, because we knew that's whether or not they think it's important for them now, brands, it will be important to them. So we knew and we built that way.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Well, just before we wrap, Nate, I think I'm going to ask this last question to you as the expert. Any thoughts on how CreateRQ will continue to integrate AI into our platform, whether integrations, any internal tools? I know that some things are super secret and under wraps, but anything that you can share that will get folks excited before we wrap up?
Oh man, CreateRQ is going through like a Cambrian explosion of AI capabilities going into this next quarter and next year. I'm just super excited about it because we have solved the hard problems first, the data layer problems, right? We have consciously chosen not to just like vibe release like a partnership with an LLM that can't actually do anything, right? And instead have really built out these super robust intelligence layers. But starting in Q4, you're going to see it in the upcoming months. And then just going into next year, it's going to be like release season for us. And I'm just so excited about all the exciting capabilities, things that should shake up the industry at large. It's going to be fun.
Amazing. Well, thank you guys. This brings us literally right to time. Thank you to everyone for joining us. For anyone who was not able to join, you'll get a copy of the recording shortly. But again, thank you all also to our panelists, to Damien, to Danny, to Nate, and we will see you on our next webinar. Thanks, everyone.
Super fun. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.